Hi Collective, welcome to the channel. I'm Crystal, Divine Psychic Medium, delivering messages from the higher realms. So this is going to be a Divine Feminine reading that is in alignment with the readings I've been doing. But I felt I needed to go in a little bit more with the last reading that I had to do. I don't even know what the label is yet, it's still downloading, right? But the Adonai Soul Group. So this is for that, right? You could be identifying with that, right? But it's going to be more... I was called in a lot of feminine energies, right? Because I felt there needs to be like a healing for divine feminines. Like, okay, so let me just get into this right instead of explaining too much. So, okay. When I was doing the last reading, I was saying how I wanted to get away from the standard tarot because I don't want to focus on the blockages, the obstacles, what people are doing to you, all of that dark energy. Because for healing to be able to fully happen, sometimes you can't be focusing so much on what people do to you to be able to go through this healing. It's like, I get that this review needed to happen and we needed to be shown what was happening to us, who was doing that, the exposure needed to happen and all of that, because for a lot of you, like, you needed to know that to be able to go on. But for healing to be able to happen, like, this reading is going to help identify areas where you might not be aware that you're holding yourself back, that you're stuck, okay? And like, I get it. You're probably going to be very bold with that, the fact that, nope, I'm not hung up on anything. So, like, I'm not even going to label this one a healing, but you're going to get something out of it if you clicked on this reading, okay? So, like, all right. So, anyway, like, I know the tarot, right? Very much, okay? So, and the Rider-Waite's the most traditional kind of, got many decks, right, that have that. But I like all the New Age different ones, getting the different energies, and it's more fun, right? Because I've been doing the traditional tarot for lifetimes, okay? But anyway, so I felt guided to this golden energy. So I did pull this one that was supposed to be for clarifiers, which is just the golden tarot. But anyway, in the last reading, I was using the angel tarot, right? Because all of these cards are about empowering, looking at the situations, you know, they're all lighter. It's all about how to transform the dark energy, so the messages are a lot lighter, okay? And this has to do with the Adonai, or some may say it in other ways, right? Adonai, Adonai, I've heard. But you're starting to understand things differently, but you are hung up on something. So what I was getting at is, in the last reading, they completely blocked out what the original Eight of Swords was for me. Like, I was like, what is the Rider-Waite in that? Because I'm still comparing it. Even though I was using the angel deck, I'm still kind of set in the ways of, I like to look at the other interpretations, right? Even though they're a little bit different. So I was trying to look at them like, what is the Eight of Swords? And it was like, I could not see what the Eight of Swords was. As soon as I pulled it up, I literally went after in my deck. I'm like, where's the Eight of Swords? And the Rider-Waite, why aren't they showing it to me? There it is. Okay. Now, in some decks in the Eight of Swords, you can easily see, you can get yourself out of a situation, you're lightly tied, you know, it's all about the swords and the interpretation, how you look at this, right? Now, clearly there is still a way for her to get out. If she goes forward, right, she can slip through. But if you look, she is completely blindfolded. She is tied up, right? So she can't see. She cannot get out of that. That's not loosely tied. It's pretty tight. You can see her dress is even coming through the ties. And there's no way she's getting out of this tie. So there's no way that she's going to be able to unblindfold. You really are not able to see yourself out of a situation. And if she moves a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, she's going to feel those swords. Right behind her is a tree, though. So she's probably bound to that tree. I just noticed the tree now. I thought she was like on a board before, to be honest. I don't know. So you are fully, like, you're stuck in a situation that you have been for a long time. Like, you know, you're tied to a tree, you're blindfolded, you got all these swords around you. But see, there's this one sword right here. I don't know the significance of what I feel about this yet. But I don't know. What I'm getting at is with this Eight of Swords is, like, you cannot see yourself out of a situation. This is not one where she's going to be able to get herself out. But if you look, right next to her is Three of Cups. There is a celebration. There is a collaboration, a coming together, right? right there. But see, healing needs to happen. It's like you are not going to get out of a situation until you heal from something. These were the surrounding cards next to the 8 of Swords when I pulled it. The 4 of Swords, which is about healing, and the 3 of Cups. As soon as you heal from something, you're not going to be stuck anymore. And I feel that is what the enemy has you at. It is some sort of fear. At that point, it's like, it's more scary because you can't see. I think she feels she's stuck in a situation, but she can't see. But right next to her is the 3 of Cups. That's how close you are. It's like the enemy is just using some sort of wound to keep you bound there. So you're really not as stuck as you think that you are. And you do have help around you. And that's what I mean. Like I was talking about in the last reading, that when you identify with being in this Adonai soul group, it's like, you know that these situations, like everything happens for a reason. And it's about integrating that. And it's just the dark, the devil, all of that. That's just darker. It's a lower energy that needs to be transformed, right? I'm not going to go too much into explaining. If you want to know, look it up. That's the name of, or the spelling of the soul group, right? So for some of you, you could be realizing that you're in this soul group. Maybe you always knew that, right? You're getting the clarity. You're starting to realize like what that means to be a part of that soul group. Okay. So you're realizing that, oh snap, guess what? You're not alone, are you? So this reading is going to help you heal what you're unaware that the enemy's been able to attack you at. Okay. So I got some empowered goddess cards. This deck is called LE Oracle. I've been seeing a lot of butterflies, so that's why it really drew my, a lot of like the brown and yellow and butterflies, but I realize it's been guiding me to this deck, right? So this deck is about 44 very empowered, like warrior goddesses, very empowered feminine energy, you know, and that's what this big shift is, right? Hold on. She who emerges, look at this, Kamala. It's interesting. Enlightenment, mindfulness, and rise up. Isn't that interesting? Because isn't it Kamala Harris or something that is rising to power, the feminine energy? You know, isn't, I see, I don't follow political stuff and all of that. I don't, because I don't believe in being controlled. But there is something about that, right? Don't we have, isn't she running for presidency? It's interesting. Because I don't follow. To me, it's all collapsing anyways. It doesn't matter. But it's all just the energy, right? Of all times now, right? Enlightenment, mindfulness, rise up. Kamala, she who emerges. It's interesting. Let's see. Let's get some more for this. And these, I'm going to read in the book too, so you'll find out more of what each of them mean instead of just the interpretations, right? And we'll get into some more tarot too. So if this is interesting you and you're still here, let's see what you need to heal. And do you know what? Healing is sometimes just picking a different thought pattern, not giving something energy anymore. Understand, because it's like once you understand how it had power over you, you can shut that off. It's not always about healing through purging of emotions. Like if you are holding back emotions and feelings, don't do that. Don't bury that stuff. Feel those emotions, because sometimes you have to feel them to release them, right? To not suppress them. Okay, that's why it's so hard. Have you ever had to hold back tears? And that's why it's you feel like you're swallowing. You know what I mean? So like, because you're trying to push something down that you're not supposed to be doing. But you can change the way you identify with things. Okay. Carly, she who frees, liberation, unrestrained, and freedom. Look, she's throwing the shackles in the ocean. Oh my gosh, look. You are going to be freeing yourself of what you were chaining yourself to. For some of you, toxic situation, toxic people, toxic lovers, whatever it is. But I feel like there's been like some sort of, for some of you, it was deep seated stuff from when you were a child. Okay, that programming, like different belief systems that you had, right? That's why it's like, I call this like getting initiated into this group, because you completely have to let go of your belief system and learn anew, basically. So, but which is really the way it's always has been. It's the ancient. No, that's why we're here teaching this, right? So you're realizing you're part of this movement, I'm hearing, right? So for some of you, it's like I'm going to give it for instance, but if it's not your story, this doesn't mean this isn't your story. I just like to give certain ones that come up that have to do with me, because I'm told to tell more of my story, because I'm going to be aligning with others, right, that are going through this, right? Because I feel for some of you, it's like when I start talking about my kids or being a mom, I feel like some of you click off, right? Some of you might not be mothers, right? But just, it's to show you just the example, but for others of you, it will resonate with you. All right, so like here's a for instance of something like, I know that was a big program that was running my belief systems and what I felt and my confidence that I didn't realize really had a control over me from a very young age, but it did. So I'm a young mother, right? I wanted to have children as soon as I became an adult and moved out, right? Man, I've always loved children. So anyway, I decided that I wanted to be a young mom, and I was always at first in this energy of like, I don't care about rate. Like I wasn't in this energy of, in this empowered feminine energy. I always have been, right? That I don't need to have a man. I don't need to have somebody help me, that I could raise my children on my own. It's kind of like what I wanted to do, because I was like a black sheep in my family, didn't have anything. So I wanted to create my own family. I wanted to do it on my own. I wanted to, you know, do everything that was wrong in my life with my kid. You know what I mean? And it's what we want to do, right? You want to raise your children better than you grew up. A lot of people will see that's some of the programming I had. But I remember when my father found out that I was pregnant, and he was like, now you have to get married. And I was like, no, I'm not going to marry who I got pregnant with. Like, we even agreed, like, I even said, like, I wanted to have a baby, right? And I was like, I didn't want to marry him. I'm like, this doesn't mean we have to be together. And he was fine with that, right? But anyways, I remember my father was like, well, you're messing up your life. Like, you're always going to have to rely on them. You're always going to have to involve them. And then after I'd had a couple other children, I remember he had said, now you're not going to be able to have your dreams. You're not going to be able to accomplish things in your life. You're always going to have to, your children are always going to be running your life, and it's going to impact your relationships, and you're never going to be able to have a real love in your life, because they're always going to leave you because of your kids. I know that's a lot, right? My father was very narcissistic, right? But I didn't know that at the time. And he told me all of that in my early 20s, right? Like, I had my first child, like, I was pregnant on my 21st birthday, right? Like, I didn't even get to experience fully being an adult. Like, I still never went to a bar and, like, ordered myself a drink. Like, seriously, like, because, but I'm not saying I want to either. I don't like alcohol, but anyways, like, even though I was like, nope, I'm going to show him otherwise, it was like constantly playing. And then it led me down a path where I ended up trying with my kids' dads, and like, I stayed in situations longer than I should, because when my kids started giving me a hard time, then I started thinking, well, maybe my dad was right. You know, and there's a lot of things that I've pushed where I'm like, nope, I'm gonna have to wait. And then because of my kids, like, I've always just had this energy like, oh, my father's right. So it's just like building this business. Like, I've told myself, nope, not until my daughter's turning 18 in 1 week, you know. And it's like, I've had this energy for a while, like, because I always knew, like, when she was 18, then my youngest would be in school, because she's supposed to be, you know, starting school, but I don't want to put her in the school system. But then it's just, I always knew, like, this was the time, right, that I was going to be able to have more time for myself, really be able to focus, because then you see, then my youngest would be in school, and then I'd have no children, you know, during the day I'd be able to fill this business, you know. And I'm like, and I started to realize, like, this is all going off of this structure that my father, which, with the way I explain it, you know, now that I look at that, like, I didn't feel at the time that was putting my confidence level down. I was just in the mindset, like, you know, he's right, I'm always going to need help with my you know what I mean, and things like this. But I didn't even realize, like, how mean and how belittling that was talking to me as a mother. right? Because there is a lot of very, very powerful mothers that are the greatest, you know, because when you don't have the children's father there, you're the mother and the father or whatever. But like, I just, you know what I mean? Like, that was just running, and I look at that and I was just like, wow, like, yeah, he was saying this stuff to me. This is 18 years ago. So this is like programming that was a belief system that I wouldn't be good enough to raise my children on my own and have my, you know, because it was just a joke to him when I was trying to be a spiritual teacher, trying to teach it, you know what I mean? Because I was always trying to heal my family first, and I was looking for validation in my family, which I've never received, by the way, never, you know. So, and it's hard when you're always surrounded by so many people, but it's like, for some of you, you got to turn around. You got to change your perspective. You got to realize these programs and shutting these down. It's like closing all the windows, you know, when you don't realize so much other stuff is constantly running and it's affecting where you're going. There's a change that needs to happen here. So for some of you, there was a block there. I didn't realize that. But it's like, since we co-creating and we're telling ourselves, stop kicking my chair. These things, it was affecting how I was doing things, right? I was stuck in a situation by my own way. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the cards. I know that felt like I was explaining a lot. I don't know. Go to the other bed. Now. Because you kicked my chair again. All right. So secrets, confession, she who whispers came out with remorse, guilt, and forgiveness. For some of you, there's going to be big things exposed too. This is just coming out collectively because there's a lot that's been under the surface. Like, everything in the darkness has to come to the light. For a lot of you, it's like, and that's why I don't even want to focus on it, because there's some of you, like, you need to know it doesn't even matter. It's basically just coming out for you to know that, yeah, well, it's coming out to try to hurt me because you're trying to keep me stuck in it, to try to keep using this against me. But it's not, it doesn't even matter. Yeah, it had a control over me. Well, I'm different now. Not no more. Like, you're getting out of something, right? So, okay. And resolute and place it and determined, she who stands. All right, I'm going to stop with these. We're going to get into finding out more about these cards. Valencia, we're going to start with her. Embody the spirit of resoluteness. Her hair is tied back, revealing her determination in her face. Her bloodied sword rests in her hand. She is not holding it to defend herself. Instead, she clutches it to support herself after a hard-won fight. Part of her would like to run, but the stronger part insists she holds her ground. The fierce tucked skull on her right shoulder reminds her it is wiser to fortify her position. For now, Valencia holds her place. Those who would call her implaceable would not be wrong. The message of this card is to stand your ground. The things you've been working so hard to obtain will be in your possession soon. Do not give in to the urge to give up. Let this card serve as a reminder of your own resolution. Acknowledge where you've been. Look at where you are now. Tie your hair back, roll up your sleeves. Now you must prove that you have earned this spot. It's like, for some of you, you need to know that, like, everything that you went through, like, even those experiences, like, it showed me how strong I am. Like, in a way, like, even though that programming was running in the self-worth, like, it did affect me a little bit, where I stayed in situations longer, where I felt as though I wasn't enough, right? Like, it really still empowered me. Like, I never gave up. I've never gave up on learning and teaching and growing my spiritual business and evolving and all sorts of stuff. Like, I still found my way. Do you know what I mean? So for some of you, like, you need to change your story. You need to turn it into a success story, because you're already here. Like, that's what's going on. There is more to this card. You will not be pushed aside easily. This moment will determine your own strength of will. Do not waver. Look them in the eye, hold their gaze, show them your implacable stance. There's this energy I'm getting for some of you, like you're really getting tested at this time, or you've been going through these times, right? Because it's like a lot of, like the most is trying to come at you right now, to really try to get you, but just hold your power and strength, because it's like the enemy sees what is coming in for you, right? Like whenever I've always ran into resistance, I always know that like I'm going down the right path, you know, like there's something. It's interesting. Concia, secrets, confessions. Okay, for some of you, you need to keep things a secret. Listen to this. She who whispers knows how to keep a secret. You won't pry anything from her lips. She is quintessential who holds all the lies and the truth of her world. Her smoky quartz headdress helps remove negative energy. In fact, it is said to transform it into positive energy. For some of you, you need to wear protection too. Like I had to cut the last reading short too because I was feeling my third eye under attack. I'm kind of feeling it again. And I know that a lot of you like maybe you know how protective, like you can protect your crown wearing hats, different things. Can stop a lot of that, and you know, wearing crystals and different things. So you need to protect your energy. You need to walk away too when you're feeling those attacks too. It is said to transfer into positive energy. It's also her role to hear all the confidence of all who comes to her. Let me say this again. It is her role to hear all of the confidence of all who come to her. You know, it's interesting, yesterday when some of the things were coming at me too, like I could pull myself out of the situation. I was looking at it like, why is this coming at me now? So this is the enemy coming at me, trying to trigger. So trying to say certain things to see. And it's like I was watching it literally go from one situation to the next situation. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's looking at a way to try to get in, to try to get a rise out of me. And then when I would respond a little bit to see if it feed, and then yep, I'm like, look at it trying to feed off of this more. And it's like, so you're starting to recognize things, but it's also showing you things. So for some of you, like you're learning how to work with these things. Like if you're not understanding what I'm saying, don't worry about it. But it's like you're pulling yourself out of situations. You're starting to analyze them differently. You're seeing them differently. You're outsmarting your enemies. This card reveals that all of us have secrets. It may be time to release yours now if they have become a burden. If you are concerned about being judged, look into your own heart first for compassion. Sometimes we convince ourselves for our secrets are unique and deep and dark. When we expose them to the light, we may discover others with the same fears. If someone has entrusted you with their secrets, honor their confidence. Okay. Elixir. She who forgives. See, like there's a fine line between forgiveness, like, and letting your boundaries down. Like for some of you, like you can forgive people, but you need to have your boundaries and your protection up. Like don't let them do that again to you, to have to give forgiveness again. Do you know what I mean? For some of you, you're getting tested, you're getting shown with things. Like if somebody does something to you and then you give them forgiveness and they do it again, why are you still there? Why are you still allowing them to do it again, to have to give you forgiveness again? You know, then you're not being right on your word and your terms and your things. So for some of you, you're seeing these as patterns and cycles that you're needing to walk away, changing things more than just having boundaries at that point. That's like why for some of you, like you are going to have to like stand your ground at this time and make change. So this card appears when you seem to be seeking solace from hurt or inflicted by others. You must ask yourself if these wounds were self-inflicted. Did you stay too long when you knew that you should go? Oh my gosh. What was I just saying? So for some of you, like, yeah, like you're doing this to yourself. So if it's triggering you, if it's showing you something, like, there's another reason you're saying. So the enemy is going to keep coming at you. And what am I hearing? What does one of my soul family members say? Something conflict, something is conflict multiplied, or something like that. I'm trying to think how he says it. Like, you avoid things, it's going to be more things that are coming out. I don't know how he says it. But it's because I don't want to look at that, because I know that he's right, and that's what I feel like it is. Like, for some of you, like, you don't want to accept you're stuck in a situation. Because whatever it is you have to change, that's what you don't want to do. It's like, you know what you have to do. Letting go of a situation, relate, you know. Sometimes you have to break your own heart to save your soul. In what hurts more? If you ever been in a situation where you're not living your soul's calling, like you feel like you're dying, and that's why sometimes those situations will happen where you get yourself out, like you will give up everything. Like, I've been in those situations. Okay, I'm gonna stop with what I feel. Okay, let's get into more of these. There's 2 more goddess cards. Oh yeah, I'm already at 30 minutes. Okay. Liberation, unrestrained, and freedom. So you're setting yourself free. Like, you can't physically, like, that's why I said the separation is happening. Like, you cannot stay in these situations anymore physically. Like, you can't. Okay, so Carly, she who frees, demonstrates how useless it is to try to bind her. She stands barefooted on a rocky shore, her hair blowing loose from her confining headband. Birds swoop overhead, the waves break upon the rock where she perches. Nothing can contain her. She has made her decision to be free, so free she will be. Her wrists bear the marks of the shackles. She will always remember the lessons of wearing them, but now she tosses the broken, useless chains into the water. Within the waves, there is almost an electric pulse of Carly's energy. It sets her loose. This is being who will not be restrained. The message of this card is that you face a challenge only you can answer. Will you remain obedient to the chains put upon you, or will you cast them aside to live the liberated life? It is important to remember sometimes bonds are accepted. You should also understand you can change your mind about those restraints. You are at a point where you can end anything you feel holds you back. It would be wise to examine the chains thoroughly, though. Who holds the other end and who holds the keys? Wow. That's powerful, because it's going to, this is exactly this energy. All right, and we're in, that was the second card out, right? So the first card that's come out, we're going to end the reading here with this last card. So definitely, if you like these readings, subscribe to the channel. All of them might not be for you, know that. Okay, especially when I'm getting on my situations, but you know, it's all about how you take them. She who emerges is the physical embodiment of the lotus. With her feet sunk firmly into the mud, she rises up clean and pure. From her hands, the lotus blossom tumbles back into the murk where it will regenerate once again. Kamala's gaze is on the flower held aloft in her hands. This is the lesson of mindfulness. We learn to give our complete focus to one thing at a time. Her enlightenment comes when Kamala realizes that the lotus in her hand, she too will eventually return to the womb of the earth. So like the lotus in her hand, she will too will eventually return to the womb of the earth. Living a thoughtful life tasks full engagement of self. Living a thoughtful life takes full engagement of self. The message of this card is to become present. The future and the past are neither here nor there. Imagine yourself to be a sacred lotus rising from the mud. Know the value of your growth as you emerge into the person you are meant to be. Worrying about what it is to come withers you. Regret over what has been diminishes you. Open to being born into the moment. Follow a deep breath into your body. Feel how the air permeates your being. Enlightenment comes as you become known to this present moment. Wow, isn't that beautiful? All right. All right, my Adonai soul group, I'm going to leave that here. I'm sending love and light to all of you. Definitely watch every full card too. And even if you don't identify with being part of this soul group, that's fine too. But I'm feeling very empowered to talk about, because I feel it's going to be awakening a lot of you to knowing that. Love and light to all of you. Bye.